Mega Fans. Today is Vloguary day 22 and I'm here doing a chatty sort of video today. The lighting's a little bit odd, so please bear with me, I guess. It's quite late at night now, so I thought I'd just put a couple of lamps on just to help you see me a little bit better. So hopefully you can see me and that you can't see my breakouts too much. I've got a couple of spots and things going on at the moment because I'm so run down. That always happens to me, I always have a bit of a breakout. So, but I did put a little bit of makeup on so as not to scare you. And I have got a little bit of a flash of colour under my eyes. I'll zoom in very quickly so you don't see my spots. So that there is like a bright blue. And that is Deviant by Urban Decay. Look how bloodshot my eyes are. Oh, they're both bloodshot. That bright blue under there is Deviant by Urban Decay, and there's a swatch in my Vloguary Day 21 video of that. So I've just done quite a basic sort of eye look really, and done quite a nice dramatic wing, and then I put on the eyeliner just to add a little bit of a pop of colour. So yes, then I'm gonna step back now so you don't have to see me too close. So I just thought I'd do a talky chatty type video day to day. I got exercises from the physiotherapist to do, and I'm doing those, just some kind of stretching sort of exercises, nothing too heavy, and they're going okay. I still have a little bit of stiff and soreness on the morning, like when I first get up. I think that's just because I've been lying on it and putting pressure. So first thing on the morning it's a little bit awkward, but it definitely does loosen up throughout the day. I'm definitely having problems still with like bending. I don't lift anything that's too heavy because I'm not taking any chances there, but it's definitely improved considerably since my first week, which was last week, so I'm very grateful for that. I'm just trying to be a little bit more active, though it is quite difficult because I do get twinges and I am quite nervous of doing something to set it back. Plus the doctor said I was suffering from exhaustion, so that I had to take it very easy and do very little, just kind of get my body back on track, so I'm also just taking it very easy. So what was I going to talk about? Well, that was the whole physiotherapy thing, so that's that kind of out of the way. What I'm going to talk about first, TV programmes that we're watching currently in the UK. I thought I'd talk a little bit about Celebrity Big Brother. I don't know how many people watch it, so feel free to skip past this point if you wish. I'm enjoying it. I really love Rylan. I loved Rylan in the X Factor. I know a lot of people didn't like him, but to me I just loved his star quality. It didn't bother me quite so much that his voice wasn't amazing, because let's face it, a lot of acts that we have today can't even sing, and they're very much sort of auto-tuned in the studio. I mean, Cheryl Cole is horrendous. She sounds like a cat being strangled, so you know, if Cheryl Cole can get all the studio attention and make a voice sound fantastic, then, you know, there you go. And people don't seem to mind too much about her. And I just love that Rylan's not afraid to try anything. He goes out there, he puts on a real show, and he just seems like a really genuine person. So I'm enjoying him in the house, and I love his relationship with Claire, who he consistently calls Claire from Steps, which I think is quite amusing. But yesterday's, they had tasks to do to try and win letters from home. And I loved seeing Frankie Dettori dressed up as a jockey riding around on Razor Ruddock's back, and he was dressed as a horse. I thought that was hilarious, very funny. And like Rylan said, it would have been quite so funny if it was the other way around, because Razor's a big guy, Frankie's only tiny, so I think he would have flattened him. The disappointing part for me was Spidey, definitely. I was disgusted in their behaviour, in the fact that they have no interest in doing anything for anybody now. Oh, just got a bit bright. Fix that. So I just felt like they've just decided they're not going to do anything to be part of the team now. They're not interested. They got caught out basically being very mean. They didn't realise that that blogger thing was part of the game. I genuinely think that they actually thought that was real, and I think that is the real them. And I've been a bit annoyed about some people kind of saying, get those Americans out, and I really don't like that, because I don't think that's nice. I love American people. I love the American spirit, and you know, I love to go there on holiday. I'd love to go there and live. I love American culture so much. Most of what we watch is American in honesty in this house, but I didn't like that. But I kind of felt, well, maybe it's difficult for them. This is nothing they've done. Their reality television is something very different. But I didn't like originally that they wouldn't come and meet everybody. I thought they were being very selfish and spoilt. And when they were sent down in the basement and could watch everybody, it was like, oh, I really love this guy. Yeah, he's great. And then he would open his mouth and say something against them. Yeah, I hate this guy. He's on the hit list. They're so two-faced and they flip so easily on people. I don't like that. But yesterday they wouldn't play the game to win letters, and they knew that Claire wouldn't get her letter, and she has children. And I think it's nice when you're doing Big Brother to get that letter. It kind of boosts you along, even just for the last week or the last few days. It really is a good boost, just to kind of keep you going, because I think those last few days must just feel like forever at that point. But they wouldn't take part, and it was something very easy. They had to go out and be in separate rooms. I mean, how difficult is that really? They can't be so totally relying on each other. That is so unhealthy. So they wouldn't do that. And then when they were gathered them all as a group and they said that Claire wouldn't get a letter, Heidi started to clap. That was so disgusting. I was absolutely disgusted, and it was just so rude. Claire was visibly very upset because obviously her children, she was thinking her children might have been excited to write something for her, draw a picture for her, you know, to see their mum get their letter from them. And she clapped. And then Spencer started to clap, and they're not so brave when somebody says shut up. Like, as soon as Reza said, Spencer, stop it, he stopped it, and he looked a little bit kind of flustered by that. And she kind of looked like she knew she'd done something wrong as well, but it doesn't matter, because then they laughed for the whole of the night. And I just think it was incredibly insensitive and rude and horrible, and they need to go out. Because it's kind of, at first it was a little bit funny, that they were distancing themselves and they had this kind of attitude, and you kind of thought, oh, this routine, it's just, you know, they're being hard-faced, it's who they are on the programme. I don't watch whatever programme it is, I think it's The Hills. So I thought, oh, this is just an act, they have to portray who they are, and that's eventually going to fall, because in Big Brother they can only act that way for so long, and then 24/7 cameras kind of get to you and you just let that guard down. But they haven't. They've just got nastier and worse and horrible. Really don't like them at all. I think they have let down their families, their show. You know, it's not a good representation really. They could have played it so differently, which is a bit of a shame. But I just think it's making it quite awkward for the rest of the housemates, and I think that's kind of ruining it, and really they need to be gone. It's a pity there wasn't an eviction tonight, to get them out, because I don't, you know, it's kind of ruining everybody's experience. Yeah, but I have been enjoying watching that. It's been very good and very funny, so I've liked the characters that were in the house this year. So that's Big Brother. I also want to talk about a couple of programmes that have come back and are coming back that we really enjoy. One of them is Revenge, which is totally amazing. I love Revenge. The first series was fantastic. I love the concept behind it, and I love how sneaky she is. She's amazing, Emily, and the way she just kind of twists and turns, and fantastic show. I don't want to give too much away in case anybody's watching it or you've taped it and you haven't caught up yet, but the second series has kicked off really well, and it looks like it's going to be a very interesting second series. So yes, so I'm enjoying Revenge, and that's on E4. I'm sure it's E4. And then on Sunday, the 27th, and I can't remember what channel this is on, I'm really sorry. I think it's Watch, and it's Person of Interest. Now, Person of Interest Series 1 was fantastic. I loved it. And the idea behind it is that after 9/11, this character created this like super computer that would record all conversations in the New York area, and they would listen for keywords about crimes and terrorism, and that would detect terrorism before it happened. And this was kind of a little program that was made, and it would generate all of those instances. The ones about terrorism would then go to the government and they would deal with those. All of the rest of them by midnight of that day would then just be deleted. And basically the creator of that handed it over to them, to the government, but he actually maintained a backdoor into the system so he could go in there and collect those other ones that were left over and then take them back out. And he basically recruited this guy who was ex-army. He's amazing actor, and for me, whenever I see him, from the moment I saw him, he is the perfect person for Jack Reacher. we'll come to that in a minute. Anyway, he basically, the numbers come out and a name comes up and he will give it to him, and then he's got to go and follow that person and find out, are they a victim of the crime, are they going to commit the crime, and he's got to try and stop it happening or stop bad things from happening to somebody. So that's fascinating. First series was amazing, so can't wait for that to start again on Sunday. Now, going back to the Jack Reacher thing, you will probably know that Tom Cruise actually played Jack Reacher in One Shot, which is a strange book for them to pick, to be honest, because it's about midway, I would say, through the series of books so far. I mean, it's a very good story, but it's certainly not exactly the one that I would have picked for the first outing. And little Tom Cruise is not the person I would pick. I would have picked the guy who plays Person of Interest, but then again, he's not very known. But Jack Reacher is like 6'2", he's really broad and he's built like an American footballer, you know, he's a big guy. He's intimidating, he's not muscular like as in a wrestler, but he's a big guy with a big stature, and Tom Cruise is absolutely none of that. He's a little guy, tiny, and he's not exactly built. So I absolutely love the Jack Reacher books. Love Lee Child, he is one of my favourite authors. I have 4. I love Lee Child's writing. There's, in the second book, which is called Die Trying, there's this moment in there where he's in this cave and he's trying to get to another cave, and he goes in between the rock face in this little crevice, and he's got to like sort of crawl through there to get into the other cave. And literally it gets so tight you can barely breathe, and I felt myself unable to breathe while I was reading that. It was written so well, it was like I was suffocating. I couldn't wait for him to get through that part because I couldn't breathe with him. It was fantastic. So you should definitely try out Lee Child. I mean, the chapters are quite long and there is a little bit of detail in there, as in sort of army and guns and that kind of thing. It's a lot more detailed, I would say, than James Patterson is, who is one of my other favourite authors. But as detailed as John Grisham, one of my third favourite author. John Grisham is very detailed in the legal arena, and he has long chapters because he goes into a lot of that detail, and Lee Child does the same in sort of arms, weapons, army sort of information. So, but I just think that Tom Cruise was the wrong choice, so we didn't go to the pictures to see that. We'll catch it when it comes on Sky because I love Jack Reacher and I am interested in seeing it. I might even like it. The book, as I say, is a very good book. I've read that one. It is a great book, a good story, but definitely not where I would have started. I possibly would have started, well, the first one would have been the better place to start, really, which The Killing Floor, which is a great book. I love The Killing Floor. That was funny because I'm very funny about what I read. I tend to stick to the same people. So at the time I came across Lee Child, I was very much into James Patterson, my John Grisham novels, and that was all that I read. It was very rare that I picked up another book by somebody else. Very rare I do that. The only kind of exceptions, I've got 50 Shades of Grey. Finding that quite difficult, to be honest. It's not really engaging me too much. The characters, she's very watery and flimsy, and he's kind of too mean for me. But I will read it because I've got it and I am interested to read it, obviously because of all the hype. And because I write, I like to sort of keep up on these things and kind of see what it's all about, really. I've read all the Harry Potter books, which are fabulous. I love Harry Potter. In fact, I've read the first 2 or 3 twice because they're totally amazing. Huge Harry Potter fan. And then a couple of other random odd books, but rarely pick up anything else. But a friend of mine at the time at work was reading this book, The Killing Floor, and she said, "You've got to read this book, I've just finished it, here it is, try it." And I was like, oh, I don't really know. And I started to read it and I just got so into it. It was an amazing book. So I gave her copy back and I actually went out and bought my own copy, and I found out there was actually a second book out by him at that time. So I actually bought the first 2 and I reread the first one again because The Killing Floor is amazing, and then I read Die Trying and I've just been hooked ever since. I quite like it that you are guaranteed to know exactly not what it's about, but who's going to be in and what kind of thing you can expect. James Patterson writes about a lot of different things because he actually collaborates with a number of different authors, and he's got obviously his Alex Cross novels, then he's got his new series which is Private Berlin, he's got Private London, and then he's got his like Women's Murder Club, which is the sort of 1, 2. They've got numbers in the title. And then there's a couple of other bits and pieces that he's got going on, and a couple of standalone sort of novels. John Grisham again, he doesn't have anything consistent. He jumps from story to story. There's nothing really consistent there. The only thing is the theme, which is the legal element. He has done a couple of non-legal books, but not very many. But the thing with Lee Child is, you know that whenever Lee Child brings out a book, it's Jack Reacher. And Jack Reacher's exciting. He's kind of mysterious. He doesn't have a home. He moves from place to place. He's very transient, and you can just picture him in your mind. He's this big, strong man, and yeah, it's just, I don't know, I really like them. So I feel like I've gone off on a huge tangent there. Right, I had a little list and I can't remember what else I was going to write about. We are looking forward to Chicago Fire coming back. We're very much enjoying that. Me and Tony are loving watching that. So that's on a little bit of mid-season break, so we're excited about that. We love the characters, we love that it's action. Within the first 2 minutes of every single episode there is something happening, a fire, an accident, something. Fantastic show, so we've been loving that. And we've also been loving American Horror Story Asylum. So I watched the first series which are actually based in a house that was possessed by the spirits of the family who lived there before. Very, very good. I loved the actors in that. It was an incredibly strong story. Just loved like the whole atmosphere of it. I'm probably going to look towards getting that at some point in DVD, because I'd like to watch that again. I think with something like that sometimes it's so dark that sometimes you can miss the odd little bit, and the suspense of it was very good. So when the second one came out, which is Asylum, I was very excited because I love anything to do with asylums, mental hospitals. I'm very interested in anything like that. If for some of you, I don't know, very many people know this who watch me, I have a degree in psychology. And I've always been very fascinated with psychology. Now, initially I wasn't even going to do psychology. I went off to college and I did law, sociology and English literature at A-level. My friend was doing psychology and nobody else was doing that with her. She didn't know anybody, and she was, oh, do you fancy doing this? And I was like, yeah, go on then. So I kind of had my hands full in my first year because I was doing 4 A-levels, and then I did a GCSE in maths because I got a D at school and I wanted a C, and I also did my RSA in word processing. So quite busy bee. But I loved it. I loved college life. But anyway, yeah, I did psychology as an A-level, and then I went on to do a degree because I'm fascinated by psychology. I love people. Just talking to people like this, because I love talking to people and interacting with people. It's probably something that is very much my strong point. It's a strong point in the work that I do. Yeah, I think that I've built up a lot of people skills over the years. But yeah, psychology's interesting. Psychology of everything. You think psychology, you think, oh yeah, people, but there's so much to it, you know. I really enjoy particularly the criminal side, the criminal psychology. That was interesting. Psychopathology, which is about children, loved that. The part I hated was statistics, didn't like that at all. But yeah, I really enjoy psychology and things like that. So anyway, mental hospitals. So I like learning about mental health, and I still have a number of books that I had at university. Some that I got rid of, some I did sell on. Sorry about that, the memory card was full. So yes, as I was saying, I enjoyed learning about psychology, and I kept a lot of the books, which I still look at now. In fact, I probably read them more now than I did then, but I still find them fascinating. When they said it was Asylum, I got excited. I thought, great, in a mental hospital, it'd be really very atmospheric, very spooky, very dark and twisted, and I really loved the idea of that. When it started, the first episode, there was an element of that. If anybody's watching that, they'll know what I'm talking about, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody because it's way into the series now. It's practically an end, so I'm not going to ruin it for anybody. But there's an alien element, and I'm not a huge fan of alien things. It's not that I don't believe in them. You know, there may be something out there. I don't have a disbelief. It's just that, I don't know, I like my horror to be horror, and I don't really find aliens to be frightening, horrific or anything like that. I like good old-fashioned sort of horror. So most of it, just that 1% that's like the alien element I don't like. The rest of it is fantastic. Adam Levine from Maroon 5 made a little cameo in the first few episodes, which was quite good. But yeah, it's been really good. There's a couple of characters from the first series who have appeared in the second series, completely different roles because it's a completely different story. But I just hope they're going to make a third series, and I can't wait to see what they do with that. It'll be really interesting to see if they can take this further, because I think it's just fantastic. Tony's been watching it with me, and yeah, we've both been really enjoying it. It's been a few cameos that have been quite interesting, and it's just when things happen you're like, oh no, can't wait for next week's episode. I love something that makes you feel like that, like you watch an episode and you're like, oh no, I need to see what happens next. I think that's really a good sign of great TV. So that's been a lot of chit chat about television and stuff. I don't really have anything else to say. Oh, what I was going to mention though, for anybody who is a Harajuku lover, as in Gwen Stefani's G and her Harajuku lover dolls, the perfume dolls, you would see that there's a video on my channel about my Harajuku collection. In fact, there's a couple of videos. And if you are interested, Build-A-Bear have released a Harajuku Hugs panda. Yes, a panda. So excited. And she's really cute. Instead of like the black circles around the eyes, they're black hearts. So pretty. She's got a lovely face. And then they've released, it's all limited edition. There are shoes and slippers, pyjamas, and then a couple of items of clothing. You get a free purse if you ordered last weekend between Saturday and Monday. And also, what was I going to say? There's like a little doll that the panda holds, and it's G, and it's so cute. So I don't know if anybody's interested in that, but you can expect to see something from that in my haul. Yes, I know I'm a grown-up and I don't really care. Yes, I like soft toys. No, I don't buy them all the time, but this is a panda. I love pandas and I love Harajuku. So I was very excited about that. And I went online and placed an order, and I don't know what went wrong with the system, but I got an amazing deal, and I'll probably explain that more in a video. I might put that in a separate video because that'll probably not be everybody's cup of tea, and if you're not interested in anything to do with Build-A-Bear or Harajuku, then you can probably avoid it. But if you do like those kinds of things, then that's a video that's definitely for you. So I'm not going to put that in the haul, but I do have some haul things behind me. Just here, you can just see them. Naughty, I didn't realise how well you could see them. But yes, I've got some haul items and I've got a couple of things coming in the post. Shh, don't tell Alec. So, I've got quite an interesting concept going on with my lighting today. I've actually got a white vest top over the top of my lamps just to soften the light, and I don't know if it makes a difference. So that is with, and then that is without. I think I look a bit yellowy there, and I just think it's a bit white, but I just think it stops me looking yellow because I don't look yellow in person. Also, the lovely Elaine of Elaine 12 Jones is asking me about the Maybelline concealer highlighter thing. It is the Maybelline Dream Lumi Touch, and it is the highlighting concealer. It looks like this, and like most of the others on the market, it's a little brush and you just turn the bottom and the product comes up. Inside, this will be the lightest colour, and that's what it looks like. And I've actually got that under my eyes today. I think it's very nice. You've got to blend it quickly though. Don't put it on and then leave it and just do something else then come back to it. I find that the best results that you get with this is if you dab it on and straight away blend it. And I think it also works better if you use your finger. I don't know if that's because the heat of your finger warms it up and stops it from drying quickly. It just seems to blend in quite nicely. So that's what I've got on today, Elaine, and I do really like it. It is nice. However, I think that the better one is, and I think I've moved it over where I can't reach it. However, I think the better one is the L'Oreal Lumi Magique, which is in a rose gold sort of container. Again, it's the same principle, and this just seems a lot lighter in colour. and it's not quite as orangey. It's a bit more suitable for my skin tone, and this blends in beautifully. You can use a brush with this and it doesn't like immediately dry up on you, so you can put it on and then faff about and do something and then come back and blend it in, and it won't like cake up and dry on you. So I feel like the L'Oreal one is probably the better of the two, but yes, that's quite nice. Yes, and you can actually see that one though. You can see how much is left. To be honest, they're not full though. It's my kind of bugbear with this kind of thing. You would want it to be full, and it is to here. So there's still a considerable amount left, considering you only actually squeeze out a drop at a time. But it actually was only about down to there, so I haven't really used a great deal of this. But yes, it's quite nice. Not my favourite, but it's definitely worth the money. So I'm just resorting to waffling now, so I'm gonna go now. I hope you've enjoyed this chatty kind of video today, and I'm gonna see you all tomorrow. Also, I'm gonna be entering Cars Love Makeup 86 competition. It closes on the 29th, and I'm going to be doing a Disney character look, so I'm very much looking forward to that, and I'm hoping to do that in the next couple of days because it does close on the 29th. So thank you very much for watching. I'm going to love you all and leave you, and see you all soon.